English 1A Summary of the Prince, Chapters 1 through 4. The book was dedicated to Lorenzo de' Medici. He begins Chapter 1 talking about the two states, republics and principalities. Alexander the Great is an example of a prince that turned king. In Chapter 1, Machiavelli declares that he will not discuss the republics, but he does, however, choose to examine the principalities, how they're acquired and governed. Chapter 1, new principalities are taken over by other rulers, or are completely new. New principalities are used to being ruled by princes, or used to being free. New principalities are acquired by luck, or by strength. Hereditary principalities are ruled by a prince's family. They are easy to maintain. Tradition keeps the prince in a position, as long as he does not become hated. Chapter 2, Machiavelli talks about human nature, how people over time tend to forget that even the oldest governments were once an innovation.
Chapter 3 on mixed principles. New principles always cause problems to the prince. Change is always wanted by the people to better the territory. You have two types of enemies, those who have harmed to seize power and those put into power. Because the prince never satisfied all ambitions, if the territory was conquered with similar customs, it is always easy to keep them and better to get along. But you have to wipe out or extinguish the original ruling family because you don't want to keep their old customs. Territories that had different customs, like language, are difficult to keep. The best way is to establish colonies to protect neighboring powers and weaken the strong within the state, to keep safe against foreign powers. Political issues must resolve early instead of later. King Louis did not follow policies, and Italy then failed. Also, King Louis urged on by making the church more powerful, and consequently, his power weakened.
Chapter 4. Principalities are governed by a ruler and assisted by appointed ministers. Hereditary nobles can have power in their own right and have loyalty of their subjects.
Section 2, about how principal states are to be governed and kept in hand. Hereditary states, which are where families have ruled for a long time, are easier to keep in control because it is because of not upsetting ancient custom traditions that people are used to.
Chapter 4. There are two ways to keep power. The first is the prince should rule over the whole territory with ministers and functionaries acting like servants. The second way to rule would be to be along with the barons who inherited the position and have their own loyal subjects, like France. Alexander's lands were easy to control even after his death. Yet Romans faced troubles controlling the territories because the government was so similar to the French. As a result, the likelihood of the prince's success is by the type of government and territory he has. Success and failure are determined by the ability the prince has.